Hey there, everyone. Thanks for joining my stream. Let me get a little bit of some housekeeping done here at the get-go. And then we will start to talk a little bit about my expectations here with this storm. Hope you are doing well and avoiding big time snow. If you are joining me on YouTube, we'll not be monitoring the chat on that. Please make sure you jump over to Facebook if you want to interact. Okay, just making sure this gets over to the main page so we can yuck it up a little bit to as many people as possible. This is going to be a good one, friends. We have most of Iowa and even extending up into southern Minnesota in on this winter storm warning. I'll show you this one. It's a little bit more of a wider view. But this is going to be an impactful storm, to say the least, and just crazy amounts of snow expected really any time of year. This is going to go down as one of the strongest November snowstorms on record for central Iowa. Come on, computer, let's go. Can you see that yet? No? There we go, finally. It only took 20 seconds. All right, enough of that. Again, if you want to interact with me, go ahead and jump on Facebook. I'm not monitoring the YouTube comments. All right, so winter storm warning, Iowa, Minnesota. This is going to be some impactful snow. And let me just get it out of the way right now. I'll pull up the snow amounts and some of my key talking points I want you to gather from this. So take a look at some of these numbers here. This is big time. And you know what? I'm worried I might be too conservative in the end, as crazy as that sounds. These are some big time numbers. I expect a lot of locations to rise 8 to 14 inches of snow across the state of Iowa. It's already starting to pick up now, and it's going to continue as we go on all the way through Saturday. That's where we're going to find the worst of the conditions on Saturday. And then wrapping up, I'd say either side of midnight across Iowa, and that same time frame applies across Minnesota as well. So in the west, a little bit before midnight, wrapping up. In the east, a little bit after midnight. So late Saturday night, early Sunday morning is when this is going to wrap up. So these are some big numbers. At times on Saturday, some of the snowfall rates will be 1 to maybe even 1.5 inches of snow per hour. Now, that's not to say it's not going to be that the entire time, but when you hit these rates, that is when you just can't keep up with it. Travel crews, road crews just can't keep up with that amount of snow. So that makes it very hard to do. I'm going to aim this down slightly. Also, extremely hazardous travel, and maybe, just maybe, it becomes impossible. And this is mainly just due to the sheer volume of snow. And what I mean impossible is probably not so much interstates, right? Those are going to get a lot of dedication from our road crews, but I think county highways, rural, local level type roads that just don't see the maintenance. Anytime you're starting to talk more than a foot of snow, you just don't have the car clearance to get above that. So that's what I mean with impossible travel. Main roads, let's face it, folks, I'm just going to tell you not to go out in it. Is it going to be impossible on like interstates? Probably not, but it's also not going to be fun. And I'll tell you, if you do become stranded, you might be out there for hours on end before you get help to arrive. So that's always going to be the risk that you run if you venture out into conditions such as these. Okay, so that's a look at the numbers. Getting in a couple questions about Austin, Minnesota, 7 to 11, I'd say, if you just kind of mesh the Rochester to Mason City. Heaviest is definitely on the Iowa side of the border and really smack dab right through the heart of the state. Wind is a little bit disconnected from the heaviest snow. It kind of comes to the tail end. There will be some blowing and drifting. This is not going to be up to the strength needed to get widespread whiteout or blizzard conditions. Yes, there will be blowing and drifting of the snow. It's inevitable with the wind gusts reaching 30 miles per hour. Oh, yeah, thunder snow. Certainly possible. And I'd look for that south of I-80. That's where it looks to be the best case to see that. And I will say, southwestern Iowa is kind of the one area that might just break that trend of the extreme snow totals. There's a bit of a wintry mix. You're closer to the heart of the low, and so often we can see that dry slot of air wrap around that low, and that can sometimes play with those amounts. Now, if one or both of those things don't come to fruition, southwestern Iowa, you will also join in on picking up some of those big-time numbers. So certainly a little bit more in question over southwestern Iowa. Let's go to the radar picture here. This is radar and visibility, and it gives us a good indication on what's reaching the ground right now. So a lot of this stuff out into eastern Iowa is not. Newton, Oskaloosa, 10 miles visibility, might not be seeing the snow reach the ground. There's a pretty stout, dry layer of air. Certainly is towards Marshalltown, Ames, Iowa Falls, Carroll, Fort Dodge. You see the visibility down. And we're going to continue to, excuse me, one second here. We're going to continue to see this area fill in back to the southwestern side of the state. And it's already starting to happen. You see that surge of moisture coming in here. So we're going to fill in that void right now. Right now the snow is the steadiest up here, I'd say between Highway 18 and Highway 30. We're getting snowflakes up into southern Minnesota if it's able to punch through that dry layer. I haven't checked the visibility on that. Let me do it here real quick just off screen, and that will give me a good indication. Yeah, it is in Albert Lea. I'm seeing some of the visibility drop to 6 miles. So yeah, it is starting to reach the ground in Albert Lea, maybe not back towards the Austin area. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. I want to go over to the web browser. Give me 1 second while I get that revved up. Oh, you're looking at the guts of my YouTube stream. Awesome. 511. We have had a wealth of accidents. A wealth of accidents so far in the Des Moines Metro. Just crazy. Black Friday shopping, that's an issue. Right now I'm checking out traffic speeds, and they're not terrible, and no major accidents at this point. But yeah, let's go ahead and go up into this area seeing the heaviest snow. Yeah, this is a look in Rockwell City right now along Highway 20. So it's already coming down really, really good there. This is not a video camera. This is just a still. But it's already coming down really, really good there along Highway 20 at Rockwell City. So snow-covered roads there. Let me get the traffic speeds off and get the road conditions up. Okay, so completely covered near Carroll. A look on Highway 30 there as it passes through on the west side of town in Carroll. So you can see again, more snow. On the ground, there it is. Let's check out Fort Dodge. This is a video camera. So this is Highway 20 in Fort Dodge. Man, that is is really coming down. This is going to be the area that sees the heaviest amounts. They're going to get no break from the snow, really. Yeah, that's completely covered roads right there. Nuts. So I think some of the highest totals are going to come in Highway 30, Highway 20, Highway 18 in north central Iowa, and then kind of curving down to the south and east. It's only going to worsen, friends. Let's check out north of Ames. Let me get to a video camera. This is I-35 at 330th Street, so yeah, you can see it's getting close to completely covered there as well. Okay. I hope, if you haven't left to, post-Thanksgiving travel, if you haven't left yet, at this point, don't do it, because tomorrow's not going to get any easier at this juncture. It's not going to be a fun day to get out there. And as I mentioned earlier, extremely hazardous travel, if not impossible, and especially on those side roads. So this is going up into northern Iowa. It gets tough to see a little bit less. Right now the heaviest snow is down closer into central Iowa. Let's pick out this one. Okay, not as bad there. So definitely north of Highway 30 is where things are worse. It's going to be a busy night. All right, we're here, so why don't I talk a little bit about it. A couple of things I'm going to be watching is that mixture. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you. And we're looking at the NAM. I want to go to the HR here. Right into southwestern Iowa, though the latest runs here, well, let me get to the latest run. The latest runs are trying to keep it out. It's pulling in southern Iowa. This would be kind of that area to watch for convection, and it could enhance those snow rates significantly. But there's also that question mark, can we bring in some sleet? And it's very close by if that happens. That sleet is the ultimate snow total killer. It just is not ideal for promoting big time. Cindy wanting to know if there's any ice in Ringgold County, and there certainly could be. You're kind of right on that edge. If it happens, it's tonight into early tomorrow morning. Past that, I think we start to change over to snow. Any chance dry air gets sucked in like usual with these big systems and be less snow? Heather, it's always a possibility, but that's one thing I wanted to take a look with you here. The heart of the low, it's right here, passing through northern Missouri, and so often we can see that that dry air gets cycled up and through. I don't see a huge signal for that. I'm going to have to go over to a different model. I don't quite have that opportunity to view it on here. Okay, clear. There we go. Not a huge there's just not a huge dry slot with this system coming in here. I think I saw it best at 700 over northern Missouri, and that's at the very bottom. So there's not a huge dry slot with this. I don't think we're looking at a big dry slot scenario here. There was kind of some hints on that trying to wrap in some of the data yesterday. I'm not quite sold on that any longer. One thing I do want to show you, and we're looking at the NAM right now just because it gives me the data, but it will certainly show things. This is overnight. This is what I'm going to call Omega. Omega's upward motion, so vertical velocity is technically the product I'm looking at. This is at midnight tonight. We have that nice surge that's corresponding well with that band that's pushing through north central Iowa right now. This is 9 o'clock tonight, and so that matches up very well with where that heaviest precip is at the moment. There'll be a little bit of a break here overnight until that next surge of moisture pushes in, but there's a lot more of that upward motion. And this is right through that layer where we're looking for snow growth. Let me go to the wrap. Let's see if this does it a little bit better. So let me show you here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the profile. Can't remember if COD gives you the growth zone or not, but we can pinpoint it. The growth zone is between -10 and -20. And yeah, we're looking in that it'd be a little bit above in that particular area. Growth zones between 10 and 20. We need the temperature and dew point to be right next to each other to have ice in it, and it certainly is. The omega's right here, the upward. So the more these horizontal lines come outwards, the stronger the omega is. And notice how some of that is lining up with that layer right there, okay, that -10 to -20. Now, if we went through time, and I'm not going to load up each of those profiles, let me just go to Pivotal. Not Pivotal. And we'll see if we can pull up the soundings here. Okay, so right now we're looking in this area. The DGZ is the dendritic growth zone. Okay. And the omega is that red, those horizontal lines again. And we want those to match up. And notice as we get into Saturday, that's where some of the strongest is going to be lining up right now. Let me go to KDSM. This is for Des Moines. And so anywhere they overlap, that's going to produce some heavy, heavy snow. And the thicker the growth zone is, usually that yields higher amounts of snow as well. So notice right here it starts growing as the column cools a little bit. Another little surge as we go into the evening. Then we start to lose that omega, and that usually hints at lighter amounts of snow. So just a little bit of a method to the madness here as we go throughout. Solid snow. Through the state tonight from 10 o'clock, gosh, all the way, till 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Solid entire state with snow. This is going to be a good one. Soil temperatures are cooling quickly. This was as of earlier this morning. But I know Des Moines National Weather Service did actually say that there's a few inches of frost in the ground now, down to 3 inches. So this leftmost one is 4-inch temperatures. So it's past 3 days. The one on the right is the GFS forecast. So yeah, we're getting there. So this is starting to stick back down on the ground with us. Let me go over any of the questions that might have come in. Please ask your questions. I'd love to answer any. Yeah, hopefully those Hawkeyes get back in safe from Lincoln. And all the fans, too. It was spitting flurries during that game. Not an issue, obviously, for the field. But, yeah, anyone traveling back now is going to have to drive through some of that snow. Winds, are they going to be bad for tomorrow night into Sunday morning? All right, let's talk a little bit about those winds. Let me see if I can find, first, this is going to be a very busy graphic. But you will see here kind of my timeline of when I'm expecting the worst of things. So travel is getting worse tonight. And this is going in increments of 6 hours. Okay? So this is, 3 hours. So this is midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., and going solid all the way through about midnight into Sunday, I'm expecting. And a lot of that is because of the wind. Wind is not going to be the worst thing we've ever seen, but it is definitely going to be strong enough. Let me get my wind graphic up here. And this is tailored specifically a point for Des Moines, if it ever comes up. Wind direction is shown, and also we have the wind sustained and wind gusts. The gusts, 30 to 35. Now, sustained winds to 35 for 3 hours or more is when we start thinking about blizzard conditions. We're not going to satisfy that. That said, wind does get potent this time of year anytime you have snow on the ground. So we do have a concern for blowing snow with just the sheer amount of what we have that makes it even more difficult. All right, I'm going to go back over to the web browser here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. I just noticed it might be a little bit hard for you to see. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Okay, so this is wind gusts. And they are out of the south and east, a little bit gusty here overnight into tomorrow morning. Now, the snow's going to be a little bit stickier consistency. It's not going to move quite as easily. Now, later it goes on, the consistency of the snow gets a little bit drier, and here come those wind gusts. They're going to be a bit stronger after dark on Saturday. And that comes at a little bit of a disconnect to the heaviest snow. It will still stir around. It's not the worst we've ever seen, and it will be lighter up into southern Minnesota if you're watching me from up there. So those wind gusts up near the Minnesota-Iowa border are probably closer to 25 or 30 miles per hour. But there is the tightening gradient winds behind this system. And the stronger the system, the more that gradient wind is going to grow. And especially if you have a very strong high pressure that's trailing it in close proximity, that just squeezes that gradient, and we get a significant wind in here. The wind stays strong really through Sunday morning. This is 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock shown here. No, 9 o'clock. Sorry, we're out of daylight saving time. And then this is noon. So easing as we go through the morning. And that's where, it's very subjective, the travel scene, how quickly is it going to improve. With this amount of snow, it's just going to take time. So I'm being a little bit more pessimistic on how quickly those roads are going to improve. Obviously, interstates come back a little bit better than the lesser traveled routes, right? So we have that. Let's see here. Freezing rain, a little bit, not much. And it's right here at the onset. So there may be a little bit. If there's any, I would watch down near the Missouri border, especially into southwestern Iowa. Should we go through the snow ensemble? Let's see what the raw data is spitting for us. Let me merge back to my graphics box. Got to find it here. Give me 1 second. So this is really neat here. This is basically every single computer model I have in my system, and it's spitting out some stupid amounts of snow. So this, I believe, is the Euro, and it's been my favor going throughout here. And you notice you start getting that light pink. That's the 12 to 14 inches, and this is only through 3:30. There may be a little bit more. Monday. Sorry, not Sunday. So that's, that's a decent amount. The trend has been to pull things a little bit snowier in southern Iowa, and I think that's going to be just how deep and dynamic the system is. You get that surge in the convection that's going on. You just can unload in some of the snow amounts. But then you have that deformation band, which traditionally holds that strongest band of snow. And so that's why things are going to be so wide, such a wide swath here across the state of Iowa. Even as you get into kind of those darker, almost gray color, that's 14, 16 inches of snow from the raw data. So there are still some instances that are saying, I'm not forecasting enough here. This one isn't fully in yet. There it is. So this would be our friend, the HR, the HRRR, if you are familiar with that one. This is kind of the go-to high resolution model. And this is pinning more than 16 inches of snow between Highway 30 and Highway 20, even up to Highway 18. That's the white showing up here. So my official forecast is coming in actually quite a bit lower. I'm being conservative here, and I know sometimes that's tough to say, but I am here. These are my numbers I put on this one. Watching that southwest Iowa, and as the kind of the caveat of the text box says, if we have the mix or any mid-level drying through the storm, it's going to eat those totals down to these numbers. If we don't have that, you're going to pop up. You're going to pop up to those big-time numbers down in Lamoni, Creston, Bedford, Atlantic. Let me show you top. So these are the top snowstorms in the month of November for Des Moines, topping the list, 12.1 inches back in 1968. That was a 2-day storm. So that's right up into that range of 9 to 13 inches. So if this one goes kind of as planned, we're going to be up there with some of the best snow that we have seen. Hey, Perry, thanks for joining me. Hopefully you and Lincoln are doing well. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining us. Heather, good question about the snow on Monday. Should we dive into that one too? We're not done yet. Yeah, right? Power outages, no, I'm really not. Wind's not strong enough, and the snow's not going to be sticky enough. We don't have leaves on the tree or anything like that. So good questions coming in. I do appreciate that. If you want to join in on the conversation, make sure you're doing it on the Chris Kubal Meteorologist page. I'm monitoring the chat in there. I do appreciate you all joining me here today. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long weekend for us. Joe Farrell has the coverage as we continue on, going through Saturday. Let's talk about that Monday snow. We're not done yet. See that? Southern Iowa. It's building in. This could be another couple inches of snow. Let's go back. Let me drive. And we'll go to our friend the Euro. This has been kind of a wave that's been there, but it's starting to kick northwards just a bit. So this is just raw data. I haven't really analyzed this all too much, just because we have so much going on here in the short term. So what's going to pop up here is Monday snow. And so we're looking at, up to another inch. If this can sneak up a little bit more, that means just a little bit more for us. And I'll show you kind of another version, the Kushera method. And that does push 1.5 inches, close to 2 inches up in southern Iowa at the Missouri border. I find the Kushera method works best in kind of a warmer scenario where there's higher likelihood that there's some rain or some changeover conflicts going on. So we're not done there either. So getting kind of fun here. Let's go to the meteograms. I really love ensemble forecasting, especially in the mid to long range. Let me show you what the snow is. Oh, JFK, I don't want JFK. Yeah, that's crazy. QPF is over 1 inch. That's just nuts. So this is for Des Moines, the point forecast. Look at the ensemble here, and if you're familiar with box and whiskers, so the top of the box is the 75th percentile, the bottom of the box is the 25th percentile. We're saying the middle 50% is coming in between 9.5 and 11 inches. And then the end of the whiskers, meaning the extremes here, getting up, I believe that's 90% and 10%, getting up 13, 14 inches of snow. And the low end is 8. It's crazy. Let's see the snow plume. There's all the different subsets in this ensemble. So an ensemble is the same computer model run multiple times, right? But you change one of those initial starting conditions very subtly. So say if the atmosphere changes just a little bit beyond what you're currently thinking, and then it runs that model again. So this is all the outcomes for snow over Des Moines as we go out through time. And notice with this storm system, the lowest is 8, and the highest is 14 and a half. But all of the members of this ensemble are within that range. That's pretty good consistency. There's the AI version of this. I believe we can get this same view snow plume. Okay, it's running 6.5 to 13.5. So again, same kind of thing. I love looking at the ensembles. All right, thunder snow I think is going to be a possibility here. There's not a ton of convection. Let me get back to my map. There's not a ton of convection to work with, but there's a big moisture feed. There's a lot of air going past each other and just a bit of energy is in there. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh, it's just surface. Let me see. COD should have it though, I think. Yep. Now, so you see that pink purple right at the very bottom. Now, just because it goes off the map doesn't mean there isn't any. So 10, 20, that's energy. That's showing up in my cursor. 30, it's just not plotted here. But there is a little bit, and it corresponds with that intense band that you see there riding south. This is just a massive winter storm. All right, going back to the questions. Snow going to be heavy in southern Iowa or fluffy? More heavy to start, and then and then we're going to see it dry up just a little bit. So let's check out the snow ratio here. Okay, initially here we get into those lowest levels. So you see that change over to blue to purple, that's 10. It does get a little bit lower as you go north, and I think 15 might be a stretch at onset. I think we're probably closer to 10 to 13 to start. But watch here as we go through time, it dries out towards the tail end of the storm. So this is where we start getting to that 14, 15, 16 snow ratio. And that's where it'll be fluffy. The tail end, that's also where we have the strong wind coming in. So that snow's a little bit more easily moved, and it will blow around a little bit. Good question, though. Thanks for asking. Steve, I hope that answered your question as well. Thanks for asking. Abby saying the snow is blowing on I-80 near Newton. Thanks. Perry, I'm going to head home tonight. I got the 4x4. And it's not going to be terrible yet. Tomorrow, I'm not going anywhere, though. Go to I-80 Speedway cameras or roads have snow blowing. I'll check that out. Wind needs to quit for a long time. November is like the windiest month. Let's go check it out. Newton Speedway. I don't see a ton there, but not to say it's not happening, that's for sure. Here comes Carl. We'll get the headlights coming in. I mean, there's going to be some scurrying about when vehicles travel by. Yeah, you can see that. So it's not the wettest either. Should we scope out a few more cams? Let's go back to this Rockwell City cam. That one looked just blasted earlier. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely crazy. 1 second here. I got a message I need to respond to. Okay. Yep, crazy cams, right? That doesn't look fun already. That's poor visibility. Jeez, that's a lot of snow. Let me go to the... Already, that's a lot of snow. I mean, that road's completely covered right there. Highway 20, this would be closer to the Fort Dodge area. So 169, I think. Yep. Let's pull this one up. Oh, unavailable. Darn the luck. That one's unavailable. Come on, Fort Dodge, fix your cameras. The quad works. It's not video though, but yeah. Another look at the roads. Should we drop down to Boone, see what's going on? So this is Boone at Story Street, so right on the edge of town. Zoomed in pretty good, but you can see the initial offerings of snow coming into play. All right, let's get over to Iowa Highway 17 at Boone. Boy, that didn't work, did it? Pretty clear view. Just haven't had the amount in that area just yet. But it will be changing, I promise you. It will be. Well, this has been fun chatting with you. I'll make another plea for questions here before I jump off here. Got to go prepare for that 10 o'clock show, monitor the situation. But yeah, we're already starting to see those roads worsen. On the map here, you see anywhere you see the exclamation point, that means there's something happening there, some incident. We've seen a handful of spin-offs and accidents in the Des Moines Metro. I think that's really Black Friday shopping that has just been the boon of all this. One more look at the satellite and the radar picture. We'll just focus in on the radar. How about that? Let me get those clouds off. And poof. So right now the steadiest is over northern Iowa. But we're starting to fill in back here, and this is going to be that next surge of moisture. It's going to continue to fill in. As the heart of that low comes in, it's going to continue to draw in more moisture, and we'll shoot it up. Probably not, Perry. I don't see any big issues with that Monday snow. You're going to get snow in Owatonna, Megan. Absolutely. Happy to bring those updates to you. We've had quite the contingent jump on with us for today, and that's great. This is going to be an impactful event. And it's just going to keep filling in right through here as we go tonight. And the heart of the low has been back here in the Panhandle today. It's probably dipping further to the south and east. In fact, I have that. Let me show you. I have the surface map up. Come on. There it is. I am going to have to move this stuff around just a little bit. It still looks like the heart of the low is still over Nebraska right now. And what it's going to do is it's going to swing down kind of in that manner. So as it draws closer, we're going to keep funneling in that moisture. We do have the overrunning off the front there, kind of to the north, and that's what's blossoming up that activity of Kansas City to Omaha. All right, let me get you on my impacts graphic here before we wrap up. Cindy, the start of December is going to be very active. We have a very active track ahead. It's going to be a cold one too. Anytime you put this amount of snow on the ground, we will struggle to get that air temperature to rise much above the freezing point. So I've been very pessimistic on my forecast with the temperatures regarding that. Deep snowpack is the ultimate killer to the temperatures. And during the overnights, it gets you some of the coldest as well that can come through. So you see the snow ranges shown here. I do believe there's going to be potential to exceed 14 inches. And that's purely just based on some of the raw data I've seen. At times on Saturday, right through the heart of the day, we'll see snow rates achieve 1 to 1.5 inches of snow per hour. Thunder snow possible, especially long in south of I-80 as we go through the day on Saturday as well. And the wind is going to be kicking up as we go later in the time period. That's going to really hurt the travel scene as well. Extremely hazardous travel, and if not impossible. And what I mean by that is more than likely those roads that don't see service or as much service. Sheer amount of snow gets rid of the clearance underneath many vehicles. They get stuck in the snow, and that closes roads. So it's not necessarily like the interstates are going to be the ones closing down. It's more especially the rural and local roads, gravel roads, things like that. And just know if you do try to attempt here, and I'm just going to say emergency travel only, because if you do try to travel and you become stranded, it might take a long time before someone can actually come out and help you. Okay? So the winds reach up towards 30, maybe even 35 miles per hour from the north and west for Saturday night at the tail end, and that's going to lead to blowing and drifting of the snow. Not whiteouts. This is not going to be a blizzard, but it's certainly anytime you get wind with big-time snow, that creates some issues. Snow is going to wrap up either side of midnight from west to east across Iowa, and also Minnesota if you're watching me from Minnesota. So, yeah, look for that. And I think these numbers might be a little conservative, especially how it started. It came in about an hour earlier than we were expecting. From the looks of it, up by Jefferson, Carroll, Rockwell City, they already got a couple inches of snow on the ground. So it's going to be an interesting time period. Marilyn asking about outages. I don't think so. The snow's not quite sticky enough. We don't have leaves on trees. Maybe a little bit, but significantly we don't have leaves on trees. And also the wind isn't going to rise to the occasion to be that detrimental. Okay, so I don't think we're going to be looking at power outages. Okay, this has been fun. Thank you so much for joining me on this chat. I do appreciate it. I may jump back on again. Either way, we're going to have Joe Farrell keeping you updated on the scenario going into this weekend. Hey, Joe's doing a fabulous job. If you haven't already, go find Joe on Facebook. Joe Farrell, meteorologist. I forget, it might be meteorologist Joe Farrell. Anyway, go find him. Give him a follow. He's going to have all the updates for you tomorrow. Of course, you know I don't go silent when there's big systems around. So I'll be providing you some updates as well. But get ready for a busy, I'd say 36 hours ahead. It's not going to be too pleasant, I would say. Okay, friends, take care of yourself, and I appreciate your support you show the Local 5 team, myself, Joe, as we've got you covered, Chase as well, and the rest of the hard workers behind the scene that you don't often get to see their faces. No matter how you're watching us, we are Iowa Plus, OTT, my Facebook page, YouTube. There's a lot of ways to get information. I appreciate you trusting me to get that done. Thanks, everyone. You have a great evening. Stay safe. Please try not to travel. It's not fun to be stuck out in the snow. It's happened to me twice. Yes, I didn't learn. I have now. okay? Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Okay, friends, I'm going to wrap it up. Stay safe.